Well, to begin, I want to share with you a beautiful example of how God answers prayer. I read this the other day and I loved it. A woman wrote this: "After starting a new diet, I altered my drive to work to avoid passing my favorite bakery. I accidentally drove by the bakery this morning, and as I approached, there in the window were a host of chocolates, donuts, and cheesecakes. So I felt like this was no accident. So I prayed, Lord, it's up to you. If you want me to have any of those delicious goodies, create a parking place for me directly in front of the bakery." And sure enough, on the 8th time around the block, there it was. And she said, "God is so good." That's a perfect example, though, isn't it, of we want what we want, and now is good, right? I really love that story. So when Greg and I were on vacation several weeks back, we were in this elevator at the hotel, and gotta love a sense of humor. So in this elevator, there was a plaque, and each elevator had a different plaque. So the first one we saw was, "Focus here to avoid awkward conversation." Gotta love that in an elevator, right? The next one that I saw said, "In case of fire, do not use elevator, use water." And I know, was that great or what? And so the third one that I saw said, "There is no elevator to success. Take the stairs." And I thought, wow, that's so true. It reminded me of there is no fast track to enlightenment, right? It's a journey, it's a process. And that's how I came up with the title for today, because that really hit me. And I went, wow, someone gets it, right? We need to take the stairs. We need to enjoy each and every step we take. So, we all know people, not us of course, who are always chasing the next thing, right? Or focusing on the next phase of life, or in a hurry to experience that ever-elusive enlightenment. My guess is, truth be told, we've all experienced some form of that. I know I struggle with it at some times. I get ahead of myself. I forget to maybe enjoy and be present in this moment. And for me anyway, sometimes I forget. Ernest Hemingway said, "It is good to have an end to journey toward, but it is the journey that matters in the end." Doesn't that make perfect, beautiful sense? We tend to get so busy creating our future and what we want and what we need to have that we forget to celebrate today. We forget all the fascinating and exciting little things that happen. We forget to smell the roses. The worst case scenario that we can find ourselves in is getting so wrapped up in getting where we want to be that we stop enjoying what's happening right in front of us. And I know I find that sometimes, like with my grandson, sometimes I get so caught up in this is what needs to be done that I forget to just focus right here. And he doesn't let me do it for long at 2.5. I'm just saying, as you can imagine. And here's the deal. This is it, right? This moment is all we really truly have, and we all know that. The time is now to enjoy this moment, to enjoy this day. We don't get today back. Have you really thought about that? I mean, I've had days where I'm like, oh, ew, right? And the truth is we don't get that day back. So why not make the best of what's happening, of what's going on? Stop at the bakery if you need to, right? Our spiritual growth, our happiness does not depend on our life circumstances in the future. And that's true if that future is tomorrow or next week or next year. That's not where our happiness lies. Spiritual growth and our happiness are attained by living in the moment, by being here now. And too many people focus on a particular goal and disregard the journey. Disregard maybe the people that you've met along the way, or the beautiful flowers, or terrific nature, or lessons that life is trying to show you. And we've just kind of closed our eyes to it because we're so focused on getting where we're going. So the idea here is to enjoy the journey every day, every moment. That's where the happiness lies. That's where the lessons are. That's where those lessons are to help us guide us through our life, to help us be at our best and our highest, whatever that looks like. Jennifer Williamson wrote this: "Today is the day to stop waiting for happiness to come in any other form other than your presence in the moment. Now is the time to stop waiting for the perfect moment and instead choose to enjoy the journey. After all," she said, "outcomes aren't the only source of happiness. The process of working toward the outcome is too." In other words, enjoy that journey. Enjoy where you are and who you're with and what's happening in your life. We don't want to live in the future, right? Let's live in the now. Now, it's natural for us to prefer one outcome over another. We're human. Our culture is we want it now, and we'd prefer to have it in this perfect little box that we've pictured. However, it doesn't always happen. And once that outcome has manifested, whether it's our preference or not, we can choose to accept it, find meaning in how things have shown up and how they've unfolded, however it looks, and continue on our movement forward. Instead of staying in that space of frustration, of anger, of, it's not what I wanted anyway, right? Let's accept it. What can we learn from it? What can we take from it? How can we move forward with that information? Now, maybe your life isn't exactly where you want it to be right now. What I know is this, that you are closer to where you want it to be and further along in your journey than you were last week, last year. You have made progress, and you have done well with it. And through getting from there to here has provided you with substantial personal growth. And sometimes we don't see that until we do look back, glance. We don't want to live there, right? But we look back and we say, wow, I have come from there to here, and what a beautiful gift. That road to enlightenment is a process, a journey. And we don't necessarily get there overnight. It's an ongoing process, and personally, I believe that it's a lifelong process. I believe that we never get there. That's just my personal thought about it. Because if we've run out, here's what I think. If we run out of things to learn, if we run out of ways in which to grow, I don't know why we'd still be here, right? So, if we get there, then it must be on that other side, right? It must be time for us to transition. The point of that was it's so important to recognize how far you have come in your process, to give yourself credit for where you are and what you've accomplished. To give yourself that pat on the back. We human beings have a habit of looking at what still needs to be accomplished, what we still need to get done, what we haven't yet learned, right? The negative side of it. Shift that when you can. Acknowledge the progress that you've made. Appreciate all the things that you have done, what you've learned, what you've succeeded at. Give yourself that gift of appreciation. On any journey, there are going to be challenges and obstacles. I know you've had them because you're human. And that's the truth for all of us. View those obstacles, if you can, as natural occurrences instead of a reason to give up on what it is you're trying to move toward or trying to achieve. If you're going to enjoy the journey, which I would highly recommend, you'll want to learn to have fun with those challenges and with those obstacles. They're not going away. They're going to be there. So we may as well work with them. Step into the unknown with curiosity, with intrigue, with an open heart, with an open mind. And know that all those things that are happening are for your benefit. Life is giving you an opportunity to learn. And you can recognize that what we call mistakes are stepping stones. That's what they're there for. Appreciate them for what they are, and they will teach you. And you can learn. Adyashanti wrote this: enlightenment has nothing to do with becoming better or being happier. Enlightenment is the crumbling away of untruth. I love that. It's seen through the facade of pretense, the complete eradication of everything we imagined to be true. In other words, those things that we're afraid of, those challenges, those obstacles, they really aren't real. They're in our mind. We create those things and we build them up to where they're this massive, giant wall that we can't get through, and it's not the truth. For so many of us, and I know it's true for people here that come here, there is something within us that pushes us, and something in us that pulls us. We're pushed by our own pain. We are pushed by the pain that we see in the world. And we're pulled by the indication that there's something bigger and truer than our ordinary way of seeing life, of experiencing life. That's why we seek that enlightenment. That's why we seek that inner peace. We want to understand. We want to know what it is we've been called to do to help alleviate some of that. We want to know what we're called to do on that higher level. We're not satisfied with just being part of the issue, part of the problem. Enlightenment is our true nature. We already are that. Our work is to realize it. And the reason that we don't see it is because we forget who we are. It's those complexities of being human that get in our way. Things like, things don't always go according to the way we want them to go. That gets in our way, doesn't it? People don't always do what we expect them to do. Isn't that the truth? Those are just a couple of ways that we move into judgment with what is, with what's happening. And in turn, we tend to move into fear over those things. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with them, right? And we get really caught up in that. So to attain that inner peace, we need to do a few things. And notice I said do, right? We can read about practices. We can learn all the ways in which to be peaceful and happy. However, until we practice those things, they aren't going to do us one darn piece of good. I know that from experience, and I'll bet you do too. The bottom line is we need to let go of our unconscious beliefs. Sometimes we don't even realize those beliefs are hanging in there. And we need to shed them. It's not an easy task. It takes work, and it's worth it if what you're striving for is that inner peace, is that happiness, is that enlightenment. So, here are three things that would be really beneficial for us to let go of. First one is, many of us have a subtle unconscious belief that what we're doing in this moment is not enough. Society and our ego tell us that the key to living a successful life is productivity and achievement. Go, 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 go. Don't sit still, right? The truth is, as we relax, be it through meditation or prayer, walking in nature, however that looks for you, when we do that, we actually become more productive. We become more focused on what it is we want and where we want to go and how to do it. The second thing that would be beneficial to let go of is the I'll be happy when, right? If we make it a habit to catch ourselves when we have that kind of thinking, then we can release that belief that we'll have that fulfillment in the future. Because we can have it now. We will begin to really experience that happiness and peace in the present moment when we can let go of that. And the third one is the idea that we're not good enough. That needs to go, because you are good enough. We're all good enough. Comparing ourselves to others, never a good idea. We don't know who someone really is. We only know ourselves. Our goal is to be the best that we can be in the moment. And it's normal that moment to moment that can change. Never compare yourself. You are who you are. That perfect, divine creation of the One. Showing up exactly how you were called to show up in this world. Don't discount that. It's beautiful who you are. Marjorie Hinckley wrote this: the trick is to enjoy life. Don't wish away your days waiting for better ones ahead. How often do we do that? Don't wish your days away. You know, sometimes slowing down and focusing on the next best step is all we need to do. Even though that idea of slowing down might seem counterintuitive when it comes to our personal growth or when it comes to improving our life. Our first inclination, our ego loves this, is to go all out and make it happen really quickly, as soon as is humanly possible, right? Well, sometimes slowing down is the only way to really gain that clarity, to really experience the now, the fullness of life. It's the idea of accomplishing more and more, faster and faster, that leads us to that burnout, to that frustration, to the unhappiness, to the idea of not being good enough. It's interesting because think about how many times that you have been in a space where you have felt frustrated or angry or sad or critical, and then in a short period of time later you felt really excited and playful and eager and generous and loving and kind. That's the human cycle, right? Those are all normal emotions. And good news, bad news, they're likely to repeat again and again. We can't escape being human. That's just the human condition. So instead of being hard on yourself through those times, remind yourself, this is a normal process of being human. That doesn't mean I'm not good enough. That doesn't mean I'm not on a good road, on a good journey. Part of the process toward enlightenment is accepting that cycle. That cycle is the reality of life. And to struggle against it is a waste of energy. It really is. Enlightenment is letting go of the struggle for or against those emotions and simply accepting what is. Not reacting or acting on it. Simply recognizing it and then letting it wash over you, kind of like a wave. So I invite you to slow down. Take a moment every single day just to experience the beauty that surrounds you. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy every single step along your way. Have fun learning and growing through the challenges and so-called obstacles. They're new opportunities. And so important, stay curious, stay open to what each day has to offer. And you can do that by simply taking the stairs. So thank you so much for being here while I shared this truth as I understand it.